I'm Jess.
And I'm Karli. And this is the Only Human podcast.
I could just feel that I was like so out of alignment with myself and my values. I felt so empty. I started to feel like a shell of myself. That was so debilitating for me, like that fear of putting myself out there and just the fear of like letting people in. We have our emotional support water bottles. Yeah. Now we got the giggles.
I feel like this episode's going to be hella different.
Very different.
Hella different.
For us and for the listeners.
For everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm excited for it because I think it's a little bit of like, let's practice what we preach.
Mm-hmm.
And we very much preach like vulnerability, authenticity. And while today's topic isn't really, something that has to do with mental health, like previously we talked about like anxiety, body image, therapy, all of those things. But today we are the topic.
We're the topic.
This podcast.
Our mental health is the topic.
Yeah. Our own mental health. And just like really dropping the veil. And kind of like the premise of Only Human, which we want to do with celebrities. But it's like, let's just drop the veil of this podcast for a second. Because honestly, I can't tell you the amount of times that I come across somebody in my personal life. And they're like, oh my gosh, you're killing it. Like you are doing the damn thing. You have the podcast. Like, it looks like it's amazing. You're so successful. And I'm like, oh, actually, it's not really going like exactly how we would want it to go. And they're like, oh, well, what do you mean? And they're like so taken aback. And like, of course, I don't have to be candid like that and like offer that insight. But it makes me almost feel like a phony to just accept that thanks.
The compliment.
And the compliment. Like, to accept that compliment, not thanks. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of just time for like a little bit of an honest chat because we've been having some chats in the background and I think there's still things that we want to talk through. So we figured why not do it live for everybody to kind of listen in on.
We haven't really had this big conversation. The two of us, we've been like texting back and forth about just like the greater question of like, is this podcast flopping? And like we've been texting back and forth, voice memos back and forth, but we haven't had a chance to like literally sit down and just like talk through it, talk through the feedback that we've gotten, like where we want to go from here. I feel like we need like a really big regroup of like what are our goals? Like, are we meeting them? Are we going in the right direction? Like all the things. And I feel like we've found now that we're like
about 3
June, July, August.
Yeah, about 3. Oh.
Yeah, almost 4 months into it, like, I don't know, just like reevaluating it, some things and being like, we thought we'd be in a little bit of a different spot than we are at this point. So
yeah, there's so many things that go into it. And just hearing you talk about that, like, I think this conversation goes so far beyond the podcast. Like for me, it's like the Only Human project.
Yes.
And Only Human, of course, is a large part of that. But I think we really need to get clear on what we want the Only Human project to be. And who we want to be. Like, do we want to be podcasters? Do we want to be keynote speakers? Do we want to be, in the media and be like interviewers that are shining a light on mental health?
Yeah.
And I do think when we, launched this podcast and we're spending so much time dreaming it up, we had such a clear vision of what we wanted to do and where we wanted to take it. And the whole premise was we'd have celebrities on and we would showcase that they're only human. And it's not like we've been doing this for a year. We could still do that. That could still be the plan and the dream. And we're not shy from like the hard work. Like we don't doubt our ability to maybe get there. But I think we're just really trying to be purposeful and understand that we can't be everything to everyone. And we can't do the podcast and be pitching celebrities, but then also want to talk to athletes and go, on the sidelines at games and also go to schools in the fall and be keynote speakers. Like we have to get so crystal clear on our target demographic, but also the value that we want to provide and who we want to be. And so I think we're just reaching this inflection point of trying to really talk some of that through.
Yeah. And I think it also just brings the bigger picture of like, when you start something new, no matter what it is, if it's a business or a hobby or whatever it is, like just talking to how difficult it is to like put yourself out there and then to ask for support from people, and then how difficult it is once that initial shininess wears off of it and the support starts to like fade off, and people like feel good that they gave you the support in the beginning to like help you get off the ground, and then it's kind of like crickets from there. So I feel like just, it doesn't have to be this podcast. It's like literally anything. Like I think about starting a business too.
It's hard.
But it's really hard.
I feel like they say that, I don't know what the average number is, but I think a lot of podcasts don't make it past, let's say, like 10 to 15 episodes or something.
Mm-hmm.
And we're around that mark. And I think we're feeling that inflection point.
Yeah.
And yes, like the support starts to waver a little bit. But I think like your excitement and like novelty for it also starts to wear off a tiny bit and becomes a little bit more of a grind of what haven't we talked about yet. We have to get very purposeful about like creating new content always. And we've talked a lot about how organic growth is extremely hard.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew that was going to be the case. But I think when we launched it, being like 4 months in, we had these like big expectations that this would like resonate so hard and like not take off and like skyrocket like a Bobby Altoff, but at least gain a little bit more traction.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also hard because I think when you're evaluating your own ideas, you sometimes have that like inventor bias of like thinking it's a little bit more unique, novel, successful than it actually is. And I'm not saying what we don't have or what we have isn't special. Like I fully do believe that we have a passion for this and we're like growing and we're really trying, but it also definitely doesn't really come naturally to us either. Like it's definitely been kind of a work in progress to get to where we want to be. But yeah, when you say that like the support starts to wane and like launching something new, it almost reminds me of when somebody is like very, very sick or like loses somebody, you get like that influx of like sympathy and support. But then people tend to like forget over time. Like I have a very dear friend. She's been battling with long COVID for like over a year. And she sent an email recently because her friends and family were asking like, what can we do to support you? And she's like, don't forget about me. Like reach out. And like she kind of have felt that intense love in the beginning, and then it just kind of tapered off. Same thing when you lose somebody. Like everybody cares and is sending you meals for the first week, but then it kind of goes quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And we have an amazing support system. But I don't think I ever realized truly how much engagement makes a difference. Just like rating the episode, posting a new episode on your story, liking an Instagram post, commenting on a TikTok. Like everything these days is all about like the algorithm and engagement. And I just feel like we've been definitely like a little bit disappointed with like the engagement that we've been getting. So while the feedback has been great, like on an anecdotal level and like when we see people, I think a lot of times it's like almost silent listenership where we feel like we're speaking into a black abyss and we're like, does anybody even care? Does this matter to anybody?
It's so hard because I think people just don't understand like what it means, what support means on social media and just like the internet in general. And I think like how I think about it is like you kind of have to think about it like what the algorithm wants to see to be able to pass it on to more people. So like, yes, following our Instagram page and following us on TikTok, like that is supporting us. But like when you see our video, you like it really quick and then you scroll, like that's actually really not doing much for us. Like it's showing the algorithm that like you didn't want to watch past the first 2 seconds. And that's like really important. So I feel like it's just hard. Like people don't really know like actually how to support something like that.
Yeah. But then when we're on the other side and we're evaluating the engagement, I think we also have to take a really honest look in the mirror and be like, is this just noise? Because let's be honest, like podcasting is a super saturated industry. Social media, TikTok, like a lot of people are doing what we're doing. And we recently had a call with Chloe, who is the founder of Human to Human, and she was like kind enough to give us some like advice, and she kind of introduced us to something called like the 80-20 rule. And she's like, you're going to spend 80% of your time doing something that's only going to move the needle maybe 20%. But then in the contrast, you'll spend, you know, a little bit of your time where that's going to be where you see that massive return. And I think we had to like audit our time and look at how we're spending it. And it's like, is my time best spent curating like a beautiful Instagram post when like 1 million exist just like it? So I think we're getting really honest, like what's the white space? Because currently what we're doing isn't really sticking out or being differentiated from what already exists. And we need to find the gap.
It's so true. And that, like, this is literally just a conversation of, like, know what we're doing. We're not reinventing the wheel. Like, we are doing what everyone else is doing. And, like, we don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to differentiate ourselves and, like, figure out a way to, like, stand out.
Yeah.
And, like, just, we're finding that, like, we're just blending in with everybody else, I think.
Yeah. But it's kind of the byproduct of our reality. Like, it's not for a lack of trying. And, like, Only Human was never meant to be just a podcast of just us two sitting and talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we wanted to make people feel less alone. And I do believe we're doing that. And I think we're making the most out of the situation. But we've also been grinding behind the scenes, sending like so many emails, trying to find that third door, another thing that Chloe introduced us to, like really trying to think outside of the box. If the front door's not working and the back door's not working, like where's the other one? And so even, you know, small things like sending every single cast member on Summer House a sweatshirt, a hat, a tote, a handwritten
personalized note.
Yes.
Yeah.
And getting in touch with a producer, making sure it got delivered to the house. And then we never heard anything. And then, like, not saying anybody owes us anything. I'm just saying we're waiting for something to click.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't happened yet. Same thing with, like, the Kelseys, sending them, you know, sweatshirts to the podcasting studio, again, with handwritten notes. And I just think we're trying to, like, we're, like, waving our arms, being like, we're ready for a big chance. We're ready for an opportunity. We're trying to do something that's a little bit more differentiated from what already exists, but we just haven't really found success. And I think that's something we didn't exactly foresee. We thought that input equaled output.
Yeah.
And we're finding that, like, you know, reaching out to various people and trying to get creative and how we get their attention and show our true passion for this isn't as easy as we thought.
Yeah, I feel like we've been doing so good with just trying to get creative and like think of different ways. Like sending an email like just really isn't going to do it. So I really felt like the merch and stuff that was like that was going to be the thing, you know? So it's definitely like disappointing, and like while we've gotten told no a lot and mostly just have not heard back from people and like don't expect anything from anybody, it's also like we're like almost relying on other people to be able to do what we need to do to differentiate ourselves. And I feel like that's where like this turmoil is.
Yeah. And that's the scariest part too, because I think we're both very like control the controllable. And so I don't like being at the mercy of somebody else's yes. Like that makes me feel desperate.
Yeah.
And so I think we're at this place where we're understanding that we can't wait for the yes to then achieve the success. Like we have to go out and find it our own, even if it is just me, you, and whether it's microphones in the studio, whether it's microphones on the street doing street interviews, whether it's, you know, finally getting to that sideline and proving that we can capitalize on an opportunity and, you know, bring short form content. Like there's so many avenues, but it's just also during a time where there's already so much happening. So it's just a challenge. But speaking in the context of this podcast, I think it'd be really interesting to like debrief some of the feedback that we've gotten so far, because I've recently had some conversations with friends and family, and we're at this point where we're early enough where we want so much feedback because we have so much runway to change. But we have a large enough sample size where I think people have gotten to take like a good listen, and so they can give us a fair evaluation. And the feedback was extremely helpful, and we're both like so open to feedback. I mean, just to be so transparent, like I just sent Jess a voice memo before we came here because she uploaded a TikTok and I loved the message behind it. But like I value this about our working relationship so much. Like I was like, I love that, Jess, but it sounds like you're reading off of a script or you're like performing. And therefore it's not coming across like genuine or authentic. And I know you, I know your heart, I know you're so authentic, but we're not professional content creators and we're not comfortable talking to the phone. But if we want to resonate with people and get them to buy into this mission, they're like, we have to come off as genuine and ourselves instead of calculated or scripted. So in the vein of feedback, I guess we could also caveat this, but everybody's going to say something different because everybody likes different things.
Oh, yeah.
So when it comes to podcasts, some people like educational podcasts. They like to learn something. Some people like entertaining podcasts. They like to just kind of like mindlessly listen and just kind of laugh and just have it as like background noise. Some people like experts as guests. Some people don't like guests at all. So like I value feedback, but I also realize, again, we can't take everything 100%.
Right.
But people have definitely said, like, sometimes our energy either isn't up enough, we're a little too, like, serious, which I've definitely noticed in our own episodes.
Yeah.
Or sometimes we're not, like, matching each other's energy. So sometimes you're high and I'm low, or I'm low and you're high.
I feel like that, like, if we want to speak on that a little bit,
Yeah.
I feel like it's just, like, literally being a human. Like, it's so hard to, like, be high energy and not be performy when you're really not feeling high energy. You know, like the other day when you weren't feeling great, like, how can you come in here and be, like, fun and energetic, but, like, not be performative in any way?
That is so true.
You know what I mean? It's hard to, like, you're trying to show up as you are, but you're also trying to show up as the podcaster host, like, because that's what people want. People don't really want you as you are.
In that moment. Yeah, I know. I mean, last week, or it wasn't last week, but last time we recorded, I definitely was, like, feeling down. And even before walking into this room today, I was crying because something kind of big happened. And I'm, like, putting my phone away right now because I'm like, I don't want to think about that. But, like, you do have to kind of turn that off.
Yeah, it's hard.
It is hard.
I mean, I'm just, like, I'm not surprised that, like, there are days that our energies don't match or that our energy isn't high enough. And, like, I definitely feel that too, but I'm just, like, trying to speak to the part of, like, just being a human.
Yeah, I know, but the entertainment value doesn't care.
I know. That's, like, that's the problem.
Yeah. Beyond that, though, I also feel like we've tried to be really purposeful about structuring our episodes. We've noticed, like, in the second episode, for example, the trying new things, we listened to it back and we're like, fucking A, land the plane. Like, that conversation felt like it swirled for, like, 45 minutes straight. So after that, we were like, all right, let's add a little bit more structure. Like, we need to keep this moving. We need, like, a beginning, a middle, and an end. We want to keep the conversation, like, kind of linear. So we started to, like, come with some prepared questions. And with those questions, I think we added a little bit more, like, rigor about, like, all right, let's make sure we're progressing through the conversation. We're ending around the 45-minute mark because nobody wants to sit and listen to a podcast for over an hour. And as a byproduct, I think sometimes we missed opportunities to, like, dig into details that people would want to know. And as a listener, I know that I like specifics. I like concrete, like, examples. I want you to paint the picture for me. And I think sometimes we'll open up a topic and then we just, like, breeze by it instead of, like, digging deeper.
Question. Yeah. I was going to say too, like, I feel like it's hard because sometimes because there's two of us and one of us isn't the interviewer and one's the guest. Like, we both want to share a perspective and hear the other person's perspective. So I feel like sometimes we overvalue, like, having both opinions shared instead of, like, diving deep into one person's, because we don't want it to be, like, all about Karli or all about Jess, like, in that episode. So we try to, like, make it, like, even about you, even about me, but there are some things that, like, maybe could have taken up more time to, like, dive deeper into.
Yeah. You know? And I remember in the beginning, and your husband was like, oh, I actually really want to hear about Karli's Australia trip. Like, you guys kind of mentioned it. It was, like, this big inflection point in her life, but, like, you never told the story.
Right.
But we were like, do people actually care? Like, we are having trouble differentiating between, do people want to hear about us and does that help them resonate and then, like, buy into the process? Or do they want to feel less alone and hear us talk about, like, the mental health topics? Like, I think sometimes we think people don't want to be bored with the details, but then maybe they do. And I think that also goes into the fact that one of my good friends, she's like, I obviously know you because I went to school with you. Like, I know you in real life. She's like, I don't know your co-host Jess. And after listening to, you know, several episodes, I still don't feel like I know her. And I was like, interesting. But it also kind of relates to your perspective where you've always said from the beginning, you're like, I don't think people care to, like, hear about us. Like, we need to kind of, like, draw them in with, like, the content and, like, with the messaging that, like, you're not alone and, like, this is relatable. And I guess that can be done through, like, storytelling, but I think we've been very cautious to, like, not spend too much time diving deep on, like, who we are and, like, our own experiences or, like, troubles. I don't know. Am I explaining this wrong?
No, I feel like for better context in the beginning, I feel like we had to have some purpose to our content instead of just, like, talking about our experience, because to an outside person that doesn't know either of us and doesn't care about us, there is no value there. If we're just talking about, like, girl talk and things that like happened in our day or whatever it may be. So I just felt like we need to have some sort of value to that instead of just like Jess and Karli and people are like, okay, well, who cares who you guys are?
Right.
And just have some sort of like specific anecdotal experience to something. But yeah, I mean, I feel like to that point, I mean, I even said in the beginning of the podcast, like to Karli, I was like, I'm finding myself like falling into the natural interviewer role because like that's what feels good to me. I'm interested about your perspective. You're really good at talking and articulating your thoughts and whatever. And like, I will just let you run with it. So I feel like sometimes you need to like pull things out of me and like be more purposeful. Although it's on me, of course, but just like being mindful of that like that's what feels super comfortable to me. So I will fall into that role sometimes, you know?
Yeah. And from the first episode, we also said like, we're so different in the fact that I'm a natural overshare and you're a natural undershare. So you're also going to default to not diving in and divulging all of the details.
Yeah.
And as a co-host, like that's on me to like prompt and like poke around a little bit more because I know you're willing to share, but that's not your default mode. So if our listeners are feeling like there's a little bit more behind the scenes that they would like to like dig into, like I feel like that's on me to like help you bring that out because I know you and I know your heart and I know how like deep you are and how dynamic you are. But I just think because you don't talk as much as I do and I need to shut up a little bit more and just allow you some space, but also like prompt you with those questions.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard too because I'm not very good at figuring out my feelings and debriefing them like on the spot. I feel like I have a lot of really good conversations with Ant about my feelings because he also understands like my perspective of whatever the situation is and he puts his 2 cents in like, well, yeah, you feel like this because of this. And then I'm like, oh yeah, like that's what therapy is for me too, is when like she puts things together for me. Like, I'm very good at like gathering the pieces, but like putting them together is like hard for me sometimes when I don't like have a lot of time to figure it out. Like sometimes it's hard for me on the spot to like come up with like really thoughtful things to say.
Well, it's also totally natural when we have a microphone in front of us, big lights, like that is a natural thing that you're gonna like need to take a beat. Like the amount of times that I have thoughts and then I'm like, wait, actually everything just left my head. I think it would be fun to insert like the clip of their view and our view because it's
definitely not like supernatural. Okay, this is my beautiful view. We got some lights, 3 cameras, our timer that's telling us that we need to shut up down there. But yeah, I mean, I think there is a part to this that it's like, it's not just sitting here in girl chat. Because much as I would love it to be, sometimes it just feels like a little bit like, yeah, the camera's on you, like a little bit more pressure.
Yeah. You know? And like high stakes, like we pay to rent out this studio. So I know in my mind, I always like try to calm myself down by being like, all right, well, what's the worst that can happen? And in these instances, I'm always like, all right, the worst thing that can happen is we spend a couple hours of our time, a couple $100, and then we leave and we're like, wow, that actually sucked. We're not going to release that. And like, that's not the end of the world. We can do that. But also like, we don't want to do that. Then it puts us behind. So when we're here, I'm taking some like a few hours off of work. Like, again, it's money, it's effort out of our day. And so I just think that's also something that's like a little bit top of mind, that when we're here, we want it to be so good and like a high quality product, but it's just pressure. And so I think sometimes it just kind of like gets the best of us.
As you're saying that, I'm kind of thinking about too, like sometimes if I give myself the time in the moment to like really think about it, I will come out with whatever I was wanting to come out with. But like honestly, the timer, like it's great, but I feel like it doesn't allow me to like have that minute pause where I'm just like, let me gather my thoughts. And like, of course I can edit that part out. It's not the pausing part. It's just about like, we need to keep this moving along. Like you can't just like keep thinking about what you want to say. So yeah, I feel like there is a part to it where it's just like being comfortable on a podcast and like, it is real time. It's not scripted. It's not like, although we have like some questions and points that we want to hit, it's like very much just like whatever comes to mind.
Yeah. And it is like a muscle that we're still building, similar to like talking to the phone on TikTok. Like, It's honestly kind of crazy what it takes to like gain a community and like a platform if you want to do something. And I always say, I think people think it just comes naturally. And I think we're like a prime example that it doesn't. Like if you look at our TikToks, like it's actually hysterical. Like I just feel like you can tell that we're kind of novices, I would say, when it comes to it. But we don't let it stop us from trying. And I just think going back to it's crazy like how people launch businesses and a platform and a community, like everything is on social media. So if you're not on TikTok and if you're not like creating those videos, how else do you really like gather a community and a following around a mission? And like, of course, again, there's third doors, but I think like that's the most mainstream accessible way.
You can reach you have the potential to reach so many people.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's just hard when you don't feel like that's a natural skill set.
Yeah.
I also think part of the feedback with the podcast specifically was like, yeah, I've enjoyed hearing you girls chat, but like, I think you need to bring in a third party. And we're like, yeah, we do.
We do.
We've been wanting to, but we've also been trying to be really intentional with who we bring on. And again, saying this for the umpteenth time, like Only Human, we wanted to bring celebrities on, like somebody that could like showcase what it feels like to have everybody else think that you have it all together just because you have status, skill, money, fame. But at the end of the day, you're experiencing everything else that other people are throughout like the emotions and experiences. And that's obviously been hard to land to get on this podcast. But then people are like, oh, well, why don't you bring on like experts and stuff? And I'm like, because we don't really feel excited about that because there's a million other podcasts that are doing it and doing it really freaking well that like, I don't think there's a need.
Yeah.
And
like
so
there's
while
not a lack of information, like there's not a lack there whatsoever.
But most importantly, it's not what gets us excited.
Yeah. I was just going to say, like, just to speak to that, like, we want to be so purposeful. Like, even at one point, Karli was like, because we're like, all right, we got to get a guest. Like, who's it going to be? And Karli was like, oh, well, there's this influencer I might be able to, like, get in touch with. They have, like, you know, I don't know, 300,000 followers, just say. Like, it would be good for exposure. And I was like, okay, but, like, they know what it's like to be human. Like, it really doesn't matter. Like, yes, of course, exposure, like, doesn't hurt. But so sometimes I feel like, I don't know if we're being like a little too picky and we should just want to get our message out there no matter what it is. But it's also like the whole point is like you have to know what it feels like for other people to not think of you as a normal human, you know?
Unless we change, right? And we've been open to this too. Like that has been kind of like the concept behind it, but we can evolve.
Yeah.
But like, where do we want that evolution to go?
Right.
And we've also talked about like, all right, let's say we get like the yes of our life. Taylor Swift is coming on 1 week and we've like made it. But then it's like, that actually doesn't necessarily guarantee that we're going to get more yeses. And so we talked about, all right, the first 20 episodes, maybe it's just us. And then our next chapter is like guests. But then we're back in the world of being reliant on people's yeses. And like, don't even get me started about logistics, about Philly area. Are we having people here? Are we flying elsewhere and like getting a studio? And then I guess it's out the window of like our set and like consistency from that standpoint. Like, there's so much that goes into it. But again, that feels like out of the realm of our control. And so it's just hard to plan for that when, again, we want to be intentional. We want to have some structure. We can't just say the next 20 episodes are going to be guests because who knows if we're going to be able to book them.
Right.
So there's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of things that we need to figure out. It's kind of like we need like soul search.
I feel like, and this is also like a little bit of an ask for like feedback or like we like want to know if people like this podcast or don't like this podcast. Like, I don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Like I keep asking people for feedback and they're like, oh, it's good. Like, yeah, I don't have any feedback. I'm like, but no, actually, like we don't want to just keep like pounding the pavement and no one likes it. Like, you know what I mean? We want like actual feedback. Well, it's not like it doesn't feel great to hear, but like it's good stuff. Like we have tough enough skin to like figure it out and take it to a productive place, you know?
Yeah.
But so I just feel like we've been feeling a little bit like we're not at the place that we want to be. And I feel like we got a little bit distracted like with shiny things in the beginning. Like we've had a very clear intention and like mission. And then I feel like the opportunity of like the schools came up and then like just different things. And I feel like we've just gotten a little bit distracted and we've just found ourselves at this place where we're like, wait a minute. So we're trying to do speaking, we're trying to do these short form clips, we're trying to do the podcast, like all these things. And we can barely keep our head on straight because we're just like being pulled in so many different directions between the time of editing, posting on social media, like trying to take care of ourselves, having full-time jobs.
I was saying,
like,
that's the kicker. The
this
full-time
is, like-
jobs, like this is a hobby at this
It
point.
is.
And we're trying to treat it like a full-time job when we already have those.
Yeah. And like it's just been exhausting and we're just feeling a little like defeated at times. And I think it's so normal to say that like you ebb and flow, right? Like some days we are so high and passionate and excited and like we just see it. We can just see the vision. But then there are other days we feel really defeated and we're like, oh my God, like 20 people listened to that episode. Like even in just in the numbers, like we have obviously all the analytics of the episodes and stuff. And like we were so surprised to find that my Figuring It Out podcast and her Figure It Outable podcast separately got more views than our combined podcast, Only Human. Like more people were listening to mine and more people were listening to yours than are listening to Only Human. And I thought it would be like double because I'm like, okay, all the people that listen to yours are going to listen to ours and vice versa. But like, no.
Yeah. I think it's because maybe when two people are having a conversation, people feel less obligated to support. Like, I'm not sure. Or they're just not as interested.
Yeah.
And I think that's also important.
Want to know too.
Right.
Is it like, were you guys more interested in those podcasts and not this one? Like, what is it?
Which was interesting because both of ours had guests on them.
Right.
But again, everybody wants something
Everybody
different.
wants something different.
But also, I'm okay with, like, yes, I want to know what people will be interested in. But I think first and foremost, me and you need to get so crystal clear because I'm confident that once we are set on our dream and our vision, like the sky is the limit. Like I believe in our ability to like make things happen.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, we need to get crystal clear on what that is because we've talked about the opportunities that like really excite us. And I think we're both obviously extremely big like sports fans and we love this concept of Only Human. But maybe it's not in the realm of like a podcast, but maybe it's more so like out and about, like, again, on the sidelines, the backstage, or like just really bringing that short form content. But we still need some yeses for that, you know?
Yeah.
It's just tricky.
It is tricky. And like, so we're feeling a little bit of like resistance from the universe. And it just makes you wonder, like, is the universe testing our grit or is it telling us to pivot?
I ask myself that every day.
We will pivot. We're great at pivoting. But like when, and that's something that people don't talk about is like, when do you stop this thing and say, this isn't working, let's try something else? Or it's like, you're almost there. Like, this is where everyone quits. Like, you have to just keep going. It's so hard.
Yeah. But above all, I feel like this conversation, not only is it important for us, and this is like the tip of the iceberg. I know we have so many conversations and things to figure out, but I think it's important just to release an episode like this. Not because we're proud to say that we feel like our podcast is flopping, but because I think a lot of people talk about their successes and then they're like, oh, the journey was so hard to get there. And like, I'm full aware. We are like at the starting line basically still. We launched June 2nd. This is an infant. Like, I remember when you looked at the first couple like episode analytics and you're like, wow, we're not getting like the listenership that I thought. And I was like, don't look at the analytics. Let's have this conversation in a year. Consistency. Let's keep building. And so I'm not saying that like we've been doing this for a while, but I do think that you hear often people reflecting back on the struggles instead of talking about it when they're in them. And I think, again, when launching a business, when trying something new, like it's not going to be an overnight success. It rarely ever is. And that's not our expectation. But I think it's important to bring listeners along the journey with us when we're feeling resistance, hesitancy, doubt, confusion. And we're not saying that we're going to stop or we're, getting like, going to give up and like we're getting beaten down by it. Like, yes, it's discouraging, but this is really just kind of like an ode to like the whole mission behind what we preach, which is just like really being vulnerable and dropping the veil because so many people do like praise the podcast, and I'm like, you have no clue. You have no idea.
We're like struggling. We're like really battling.
Well, what's funny
the
was
scenes.
Spotify played a trick on us yesterday and said that 0 people listened to our last episode. And both me and Jess were in the creators app, and we were like, what the hell? Why did nobody? It was like
Not
5
one
p.m.
person.
And I'm like, no, wait. My friend texted me this morning. She said she was listening
Did
to the
she
episode.
lie?
No.
I'm kidding.
Maybe.
I'm like, I have proof you did not listen to it.
So, yeah, I texted her. I was like, did you listen on Spotify or did you watch on YouTube? And she's like, no, I listened on Spotify. And so I was like, okay, there's a glitch in the system. But like that was just perfect timing because we had already been like, what the hell? And we knew we were going to do this episode. And then, of course, like we released the episode and it's saying that absolutely not a soul listened to it. Thankfully, that wasn't the truth. But yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there.
And we'll get there together.
We will. Well, I think we have a lot more to talk about behind the scenes. I feel like we gave everybody a little glimpse into like, we're trying to get feedback. We are constantly trying to, we literally could not be more purposeful people. Like an Instagram post.
To a fault.
It's to a fault. Like everything has to be perfect. And like, we're just trying to be so intentional and not just like do things just to do them and go through the motions. And so, sometimes it's really exhausting being that way. So yeah, I feel like we gave like a good glimpse into like the fact that we are hearing everything. We're asking all the questions. We're asking ourselves the questions and just like really trying to figure this out. And constantly like reevaluate where we're at, where we want to go. Cause it was kind of jarring to like find ourselves in that spot of like, oh wait, we're actually trying to do like 1,000 different things. And maybe that's why we're feeling like we're doing so much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Spreading just too thin.
Yeah.
And also maybe just expecting like too big of results too soon too. Like I think we are kind of used to seeing like virality with like TikTok and like the ability that social media can kind of blow things up so quickly. But people always say like things don't happen overnight and things that are worthwhile to have are going to take time to build. And again, we're not shy about putting in the hard work. But I think it's interesting because we've gotten to know ourselves so deeply through all of the inner work that we've done. Now we have to like kind of try to get to know this business deeply and ourselves together. It almost feels like doing the inner work all over again, except not as an individual,
together.
As a team and as a company, and the value that we want to provide.
Yeah. I will say, like, throughout all of this, we are a great team. We work really well together. I feel like, you know, we have times where one of us is a little bit more, like, optimistic than the other, and we're able to, like, bring each other up. And even just, like, our day-to-day conversation of, like, do you think we should do this? And we're both very, like, fluid and able to, like, see both sides.
In terms of our working relationship, like I have no notes. Like I literally could not.
Well, that's good because I didn't know we were airing those on here. Now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, put yours away. Yeah, no, I literally could not be more grateful for you. Like we are so open and communicative. We can always give feedback. We can always be like so upfront and it's never personal, but we also are just so uplifting toward each other. So even though this has been, you know, a hard thing to like launch and try to figure out, like the easiest part has been doing it alongside you.
Yeah, I agree.
Love you.
That's why we're besties.
Yeah.
Love you too. All right. What's your mental health resource this week?
Okay. So my mental health resource is matcha because I drink my matcha every single morning and it's literally the best part of my day. And I've been drinking it on the deck because the weather has been so nice in the morning. I love like a crisp morning, but when like the sun comes out, so it's like sunny, but it's not hot. Like that is, sometimes I do love an overcast day. I've been on my soapbox about that before. But yeah, my matcha outside. But I want to speak a little bit more about that because L-theanine is also kind of like wrapped up into this mental health resource. So I just want to give a little bit of insight into like what it is and why matcha is probably like a better energy source than coffee. So L-theanine is an amino acid, which is naturally found in tea leaves. And it's known for like promoting a calm but alert state. So it's like a sustained energy versus coffee. It's kind of like that spike and that crash. Whereas matcha won't really like give you the jitters. It's more of like a relaxed, focused. So some benefits is like reduces anxiety and stress, supports focus and attention, may improve sleep quality, So I
Oh,
highly
that's good.
recommend if
That
you're looking
sounds like
for
the opposite of coffee.
yeah. If you're looking for an alternative to coffee,
yeah.
come to the dark side.
Or even like if you might not even realize that like coffee is making you feel like shit.
I
know?
believe that to be true about 90% of the population.
Yeah, like they think it makes them feel good, but like it doesn't.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Especially in excess, which again, majority of the population.
We do a lot of things in excess in America.
I was going to say, America, baby.
So my mental health resource, you're going to be really proud of me. It's a habit that I implemented. It's yoga before bed.
Oh my gosh, before bed.
Before
Okay.
bed. So even on the days that I work, like Aunt and I are doing it together. And so if it's after 9 p.m., we'll do 20 minutes. But if it's before, we'll do 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you putting it on a TV?
Yeah. So I'll AirPlay Peloton yoga to the TV.
And is it like relaxing, restorative stretching, or are you like sweating?
So you can like obviously choose which one you do. We try to choose like a slow flow, or like sometimes they have evening yoga flow, which is like more slow, like focusing on your breath. It's not like sweating. Sometimes yes, but it's still like we use this instructor, Dennis Morton. He's like the best. He always reminds you like the most important thing isn't doing the pose, it's breathing through it. So like if you're doing the pose and you're not breathing, like you're not doing like that's not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So he's very much about being slow and intentional, like even in his like faster flows.
I
So,
love that.
yeah.
Do you guys do it with like the lights dimmed or like
Yeah.
a candle or
Just like with the
dim
TV on.
lights?
Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. So it's really relaxing. It's a really good way to wind down.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
any habit that like bookends your
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
Just provides. I feel like the beginning of the day and the end of the day is when we need the most structure.
Yes.
And so it's a great like signal to your brain that it's like time to wind down.
Mhm. Yeah.
Love that.
Thanks.
I think you need to close out. I've been really carrying the weight. My back hurts.
My back hurts.
My
All
back is
right,
killing me.
guys. Thanks for listening. We would love to hear your feedback, good or bad, about
Yeah.
what we're doing, our energy. If you want to get to know anybody more.
Don't judge Jess's energy right now.
Why is my energy bad?
It's low. It's a
Is
little
it
low.
really?
I mean, you're just soft-spoken.
Like right now in this moment, my energy is low.
Yeah.
So I feel like
But also,
when I think
like,
about
we're, like,
energy,
cozy and we're like, okay, yeah.
I think about like your spirits.
Yes.
Like low spirits or high spirits. Not like I'm not like gonna be jumping on the chair. I mean, if you want me to, I
and
can.
You're watching Disney Channel. Yeah, I know.
All right. Thank you for listening. We will see you next time.
Bye.